Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. A proposed amendment to the government's Anti-social Behaviour Bill, which aims to give greater protection to freedom of expression, is set to be voted on in the House of Lords next month. Clause 1 of the bill seeks to replace ASBOs with IPNAs, which are injunctions to prevent nuisance and annoyance. IPNAs will be easier to obtain by the authorities, and there's concern that street preachers, carol singers or anyone else expressing a strong opinion in public could be caught by the proposals. Lord Dear, who has tabled the amendment to Clause 1, also spearheaded another free speech campaign last year, which resulted in the removal of the word insulting from Section 5 of the Public Order Act. Simon Calvert, campaign director for Reform Clause 1, which is backing the amendment, says the idea of having a law based on the definition of what's annoying is very concerning.
The problem with Clause 1 of the Anti-social Behaviour Bill is that it's drafted in much too broad a way so that it could catch almost anything. It outlaws nuisance or annoyance. Well, you only have to say that to know that we're all capable of being annoying, and we all experience annoyance many times a day in many different ways. So the idea that you have a law which turns on the definition of what's annoying is of concern to very many people. Lord Dear has tabled a specific amendment to change the threshold, to replace this nuisance and annoyance threshold with a higher test, and that amendment will be voted on the 8th of January, and peers will have that opportunity to inflict a defeat on the government if they wish, and we'll have to see what happens.
Staying in the Lords, and peers have been debating another controversial government bill this week. Part 2 of the lobbying bill seeks to control how non-party organisations speak out on issues during the run-up to a general election, but it was paused last month following pressure from charities and campaign groups, which included the Christian Institute. Baroness Pitt-Keithley said she was baffled as to what the government had been doing during the pause, and added, "Why the rush for this bill? It is clearly not yet fit for purpose." Shadow Charities Minister Lisa Nandy also entered the debate, calling for part of the bill to be dropped altogether. She said, "I don't see any need for legislation that restricts charities' abilities to speak out," adding that the charity sector acts like a megaphone for people who don't usually have a voice. But Lord Wallace of Tankernes said that charities and voluntary organisations should be reassured that their engagement with public policy will not be subject to regulation, as long as it cannot reasonably be regarded as intended to promote or procure electoral success of a party or candidate. A Girl Guide group who want to continue to use the long-standing promise to love God are facing expulsion from the National Association. Under new rules introduced in September, girls can now only promise to be true to myself and develop my beliefs, rather than to love my God. But a guide unit in Newcastle upon Tyne, who say they intend to continue to offer the original promise as a choice alongside the new one, have been told that their membership of the movement is to end on the 31st of December. Glynis Mackey, who has led the group for over 25 years, says the move is an example of faith being sidelined in society. They are trying to force us out of girl guiding with no process. The girls are really incredibly angry and they just want their voices to be heard. Despite Girl Guiding UK having received over 800 complaints about the new promise, Chief Guide Jill Slocum claims the new promise has opened our arms to welcome even more girls and adults of all faiths and none. Lady Butler-Sloss has said the current law which protects against assisted suicide should not be tampered with. The former senior family law judge and House of Lords peer made the comments ahead of a Supreme Court appeal this week. The case involves the family of Tony Nicklinson, who died last year and could only communicate by blinking and nodding, and Paul Lamb, who is paralysed. They both want to change the law to allow doctors to assist in suicides. But Lady Butler-Sloss has warned that euphemisms from supporters of the practice may make the idea of changing the law more palatable, but they obstruct reasoned debate. The law is there to protect us all. We tinker with it at our peril. She also cautioned that any weakening of the law would open up a new frontier which would be easily crossed and hard to defend. Pop star Beyoncé Knowles has come in for heavy criticism this week after campaigners and parents hit out at the singer's latest explicit music videos. The singer has uploaded her new album to iTunes, including 17 videos, which also appear on YouTube, some of which include sexual dance moves and X-rated lyrics. Vivian Pattison, director of campaign group Media Watch UK, said it's sad to see a singer of such magnitude sink to this level. She continued, "Like it or not, Beyoncé is a role model and she needs to take responsibility for that. Especially as a mother herself, it's very surprising that she would do this." And Pippa Smith of child protection charity Safer Media said, "My view would be that the whole album should be banned. Even with age ratings, it would still circulate around the playground and it's sheer exploitation." Fresh calls have been made for the government to clamp down on high-stake gambling machines by 3 separate local authorities. Fareham Council, Brighton and Hove City Council and Preston Council all voted last week to call on the government to take action on fixed odds betting terminals, which allow gamblers to stake up to £100 every 20 seconds. Leader of Fareham Council, Sean Woodward, said of the machines, "They are the crack cocaine of gambling. I very much hope our government will act to bring down the stake to £2 per go." And Brighton councillor Emma Daniel said, "I am really concerned about the impact fixed odds betting terminals are having in Brighton and Hove, risking vulnerable people getting into debt, with crime and antisocial behaviour escalating in the city as a result." And finally, a 19th century song that has become a modern popular classic has been named Britain's favourite Christmas carol. O Holy Night topped an online poll organised by the broadcaster Premier Christian Radio. It received 16% of the vote, beating Hark the Herald Angels Sing into second place. Announcing the result, Pam Rhodes said it was interesting that the winning carol is not often sung by church congregations, but is more often enjoyed as an inspirational performance piece. Rhodes said, "O Holy Night fits the mould of a traditional carol perfectly." First performed on Christmas Eve in 1847, she added, "The carol has been a favourite down the years ever since." The other carols which made up the top 6 were In the Bleak Midwinter, which received 11% of the vote. Fourth was Silent Night, Holy Night. Joy to the World was next on 7%, with O Come All Ye Faithful completing the top 6. Well, that's all for this week. We'll be back on the 3rd of January with a special video review of 2013, highlighting some of the key moments, decisions and events which impact on our work here at the Christian Institute. And don't forget, there's always lots of additional information and resources to help you on our website at christian.org.uk. So until next time, on behalf of all of the news team, may I wish you a happy Christmas and a peaceful New Year. Goodbye.